Shane.
Austin.
The sleeper has awakened.
Oh my God. So this is a type of bonus pod, and what this is 40KFanatics podcast do a movie.
A movie.
So the deal is that me and Austin like movies, and we like talking about movies, and we like watching movies. And so you came up with an idea.
Yep.
To start us off. Now, this is not going to be a regular thing that we're going to do all the time. We're going to do it sometimes, and this is one of those times that we're doing it. You're still going to get a regular episode of 40KFanatics podcast in all the places you expect it, but here, now, and in the future, we will periodically do a movie. It'll be new stuff. It'll be old stuff. It'll often be in the sort of avenue of nerddom that you would expect from a miniature gaming podcast.
A lot of movies that we feel kind of parallel Warhammer 40K in their styling and different elements of the film.
Today, we are doing a movie that I frankly cannot stand.
I love it.
David Lynch's 1984 magnum opus, Dune.
Dune.
There is not one single aspect of this movie that the recent remakes did not improve upon.
Are you telling me you did not like the inner monologues?
The spoken inner monologue. Look, we're going to get to it because I've got notes. But I'm going to read from IMDb a few things. As I said, this is David Lynch directed, Frank Herbert written. He wrote the book.
Yep.
David Lynch wrote the screenplay, starring Kyle MacLachlan, Virginia Madsen, Francesca Annis, Leonardo Cimino, Brad Dourif, to name a few. Now, they're all terrible in this thing.
Think so?
They're terrible. Austin.
It's so good.
Look, anyway, let's just get into it. I've got notes. So you had the idea to attach this more to 40K and talk about some of the parallels between Dune and 40K, which I'm not opposed to because they're numerous.
Yeah.
But I've got some notes. All
Okay.
right. First of all, the various players in this thing, look, I would say go watch it and then come back and listen to us, but you could save your time because if you just go watch it, if you've never read the book, if you haven't seen the new ones, I don't know how you'll make heads or tails out of any of it.
Oh, it is just absolutely a mess.
It's a total mess, and the crazy part about it is it just goes out of its way to exposition at every moment. Every moment of the movie is exposition, and you still can't tell what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
The movie came on, and the first thing... I'm sorry. I'm doing the players in this thing. You've got the Fremen.
Yeah, Fremen.
Describe who these various things are. The Fremen.
Okay, so you got the Fremen, who aren't very diverse in this version of the film.
No.
For a kind of like a faction of space jihadis, they look very white.
They're very white. The whole movie is very white, except for a couple of places where it's just like, I guess that I don't know. They're doing a thing anytime it's not that way. Yeah. But yeah, so the Fremen are the native people of
Arrakis, the Dune planet, and then you've got the House Atreides, the good guys of the film, the good nobles, and then you've got the House Harkonnen, which are psychopathic rival house. And then you have the Emperor of the known universe, who is the Emperor of the known universe, who is plotting to get rid of House Atreides. And then you got the Spacing Guild, who are basically your space navigators who freight everyone around. And you got the Bene Gesserit, a secret society of witch women. I think that those are the main players for this film.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I tell you, there's one right quick parallel to 40K, which is the House Harkonnen, absolutely followers of Slaanesh.
Oh yeah, seems like it.
They're just they're a cartoon cutout of a society of excess.
Yeah,
and corruption. The Bene Gesserits are neat, but in the 84 movie, they are just wildly underutilized as a device. Because in the new movies, which, I mean, who knows how much we'll do this, compare and contrast the two, but I think that's probably worth doing. In the new movies, you get all this, how the Bene Gesserits have spent eons installing a religious dogma into the Fremen and this whole prophecy and stuff so that they could eventually have a dog in the fight of the power should the chosen one ever come to be, and or so they could keep the Fremen in line to keep the spice running. And you don't get any of that.
No, I think one thing that this film does differently than the new film is the new film seems to have a really high emphasis on the Bene Gesserit, while this film has a real high emphasis on the Spacing Guild, whereas the new movie has hardly any emphasis on the Spacing Guild. I feel like there's kind of that seesawing effect with it, where one dominates this movie, whereas in the other movie, the other one dominates the screen time.
Yeah, and I've got it in my notes as I watch the movie. I realize what is going on and why I think that is, that there was a lot more story to tell in the new one versus the old one. But let's just get to my notes and you comment on these notes. So first of all, there were 2 Universal logos in the version we got, which we rented it off of YouTube.
Yeah, you got the new one and the old one.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. And then, listen, guys, you know you're dealing with a bad movie when Princess Exposition pops up to just give exposition.
Beginning is the most delicate time, Shane.
She's terrible. Also, we noticed as we were watching, I don't believe she says a single word like in a scene.
No.
She gives exposition periodically, like off screen, and then and you see her talk in this first part. And I have other notes because as you watch her, she just, she's gone. She fades away. And then she's back again.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange, especially the part where the next time she comes up from the fade, she's like, "Oh, by the way," she's like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you this." It's I don't know if it's unintentional comedy, but it's just amazing.
It's like she gave you 3 pages worth and then realized that there was a back on the sheet.
P.S.
P.S. And it's like the most important part, because then she tells you about the planet Dune entirely.
Yeah,
it just goes on and on. But then you see her with the Emperor sometimes, but she doesn't actually utter a word to any other like present person in the thing.
I think she may have had one speaking part at the very beginning to her father, but I think that's all we had.
Princess Exposition. It's the year 10,191.
Oh yeah.
What was going on in 40K then? You said you thought that might have been the Dark Ages of man.
I think that was the Dark Age of technology, because 30K is the Horus Heresy. So that would be 20,000 years in the future from then. So I believe currently in the 40K timeline, it would be the Dark Age of technology. Humanity is in space, basically doing almost like Dune kind of stuff. They're just out colonizing planets and having fun.
Doggos are still going strong in 10K.
Oh yeah, it seems like the pug breed has dominated in the favorable class.
I've got mind reading witches ? Because the Emperor says that he wants his Bene Gesserit like grandmother or whatever she is to read the mind of the Spacing Guild who's coming to visit, and then the guys come and they call her a witch, and I'm thinking, okay, so there's a lot of that calling them witches. But it's not like they're magic. They just sort of vaguely read minds.
Yeah.
And they use the voice.
Yeah, the voice.
The voice.
Not on NBC, the voice, but Dune, the voice.
Okay. This is a scene I want to talk about. It's one of the first scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
The Spacing Guild has come to meet with the Emperor because they feel that there is a problem brewing with Arrakis, House Atreides, and the Harkonnen.
Yeah.
And so they come and ask the Emperor, what's up?
Yeah.
At which point, the Emperor exposits to this big baby monster that he's got this whole grand plan, a cloak and dagger operation in the works, because, all right, I'll just explain it to all of you. because it will get explained to you if you watch it. And it got explained to me. Now, full disclosure, I tried to watch this damn movie once. I tapped out. I was about an hour and 10 minutes in. We got to the part because you had to sit with me and watch this. Eyes held open like that Bird Box movie.
Yeah. I was sitting there, Clockwork Orange style, had my eye drops in my hand, dropped them in your eyes, going, watch this scene. This scene's going to be awesome.
No, it was rough. It was rough. But I really love Dune 1 and 2, the new ones, because they tell a story. And the story is that House Atreides and their planet, what's their planet? I want to say I want to say Calidus, but I don't think that's right. Is it Caliban?
Caliban is
40K. Is where the Dark Angels come from.
Yeah.
All right. They're getting very powerful and very popular. The Emperor is afraid that they will at some stage be able to overthrow him. Therefore, he currently has House Harkonnen mining spice, which is what powers interstellar travel in the galaxy, from Arrakis. He then, and this is ridiculous. It's a very convoluted plan that works a lot better if you don't know what's going on from the jump.
Yeah.
Which is, he's going to say to House Harkonnen, you're out. Atreides, you're in. Once you get set up and we've put some strain on you and your people, we're going to send the Harkonnen back with a big pile of my personal army to destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, House Harkonnen gets to run the spice again, and they owe me, the Emperor, and House Atreides is gone. Which I'm like, well, then why don't you just send the Harkonnens and your army to destroy House Atreides? But that's not how they do these things. I don't know why.
I know why.
Why?
Okay, because if he does that, then the other nobles are going to get freaked out because they're going to go, well, the Emperor could do that to me, and it would cause unfavorability with him. It would be him stepping out of line because he's supposed to be kind of like the overhead figurehead, but like not getting directly involved in a lot of the lower nobility inner politics.
So he needs the cover of the perceived failure of the Atreides mining operation.
Yeah.
Okay. That would have been a cool thing for them to include.
Yeah.
That's the way they sell it in the new movies because that's the only way it makes any damn sense.
Yeah.
Listen. That's the plot of the movie. None of the rest of it matters. The rest of the stuff that gets us through this thing that the Emperor has decreed, it's just like I don't know. You already know where you're going, and we're just sort of watching the karaoke track bump along.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Because the other thing is, by this point, we're only 7 minutes into the movie, and you have been Gatling gunned, just cut down by exposition to the point that the first time I watched it, I was still like, what?
It's like I was telling you, I was over there miming, scribbling notes, and I was like, is this going to be on an exam?
Yeah, I was making a lot of notes. I didn't see you taking any notes. I think you've seen it too many times.
Okay, so I read the book in high school, and I've seen this film before, and I've seen the new film. I know enough about Dune to where I can just sit and have the movie play, and I just turn my brain off and just enjoy the absurdity of it all. I know where it's going. I know the plot and everything, so I just sit there and just enjoy the madness of David Lynch.
Yeah. Now, I've noticed a thing about you, okay, because you really enjoyed Megalopolis, which I don't think I could sit through that. That movie appears to be a level of ignorant that I can't possibly abide by. And it's long and stupid, and not just stupid like Dumb and Dumber stupid, like highfalutin stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed, though, that you really enjoy when like a 70s cocaine-y director is taking big, wild swings. He's like, I need 400 cheeseburgers and put them in a pile and make a mountain.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Just the authorial intent of the cheeseburger mountain is pure cinema.
It's ridiculous. It's no way to, like, my thing about movies is I feel like they are, like books, like TV shows, a way to convey a narrative. Dune doesn't do that. You almost have to have the whole narrative in your head and know what it is before you turn it on.
Oh yeah,
and
it's too much.
That is a non-functional piece of media.
Yeah.
That would be like you open the book up, it's titled something that you've heard of, and there's no words in it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to read Moby Dick. Okay, I know Moby Dick is about... it's told from a sailor talking about his captain who is chasing after a whale. And then you open Moby Dick, and there's nothing there. And then you say, after running through it like a flip book, fanning through the empty pages, I've read Moby Dick because I knew before I picked it up, it was a sailor talking about a captain that was chasing a whale.
Well,
that's a non-functional piece of media, man.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, my next note. Audible thoughts, spoken subtext.
The Tooth.
This movie is such a piece of bleep that they clearly and obviously recorded all manner of scenes without the actors knowing what was going on, without the script being complete, because we've got so many instances where people are saying things and acting to one another with just blank faces, or at best, sometimes faces that don't make any sense. It is a horse race for people who have their ass fully on their body acting. And then they ADR the subtext, the internal thought of any old character just right on top of the thing.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of, in the book, you kind of like know everyone's intentions and everything going on with you know what's going on inside everyone's head. So that's translated directly in the movie, which is kind of an improper way to do the film. But at the same time, Dune has so much stuff going on, and you're trying to fit this all into like a 2-hour movie, that you're trying to like fill as much of the movie you can with just context and information over what's going on.
Sometimes they just repeat something that was just said to them.
Yeah.
Because
the executive producer has a sledgehammer. He's trying to beat this into your head. What's going on?
Well, not only that, though, but because they've got reaction shots to nothing, apparently. And they're just like, well, we're going to use a shot. Well, what's he going to do? Because he's not reacting to what she said, so let's have him think something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so bad. I couldn't believe it. That's why I wasn't able to finish it the first time, because there comes a point, especially toward the end of the movie, that the internal dialogue isn't even asking any questions anymore. It's just saying stuff that they didn't have to write down.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother level. My next note, there's Jean-Luc Picard.
There he is.
And a dude with some eyebrows.
Yeah, the Mentat.
In the new movies, those guys were bald and they would roll their eyes back in their head and when they're doing their calculations. Yeah. And you had to tell me that that's what those guys were. They were the human computer people.
Yeah, the Mentats.
What's the thing that you say before you take your Monster Energy drink?
Oh, talking about the Mentat, the Harkonnens. He gives this little spiel talking about the Sappho juice they drank to try to like help with their calculations and everything.
Is that like their brain oil?
Yeah, like their brain oil. I was telling Shane, I was like, that I think about that a lot whenever I'm doing my like morning Monster Energy. My white Monster, I drank that. I'm thinking, I set my mind to speed, my mind in motion. Here we go, stuff like that. I'm just like, time to start the day. I need that thinking juice.
I don't even know what this is about. It's a quote. Cattle and love play?
Oh yeah, moods are nothing for cattle or wordplay.
And that was Jean-Luc saying that.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart. Look what they done to our boy.
He's acting as hard as he can with what he's given.
And he's given nothing. I mean, we could talk a minute about the body shield thing and the crazy cube effect that they did, which was groundbreaking to the time.
Roblox.
Listen. Yeah, Roblox. You informed me that this thing came out after Star Wars.
Yes.
It didn't come out after Star Wars. It came out after Return of the Jedi. And somebody at Universal thought, we're going to get ours.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get our big, glorious space opera.
Yeah.
We're going to take down the king. We're going to be the next big thing. And man, I could not imagine what a person would have thought if they had just seen 3 Star Wars movies and then they pop over, because we're talking about 80s people.
Yeah.
You see a trailer on the TV and it's whatever it is, and I'm sure it looked all right. But you've seen Star Wars, and then you go and you see this thing and those Roblox looking dudes.
Yeah.
And then we get to this part that you said is a construct just for the movie, which is the weirding way.
Well, the weirding ways in the book, but specifically the weirding modules, which are the little handheld sonic weapons that House Atreides has.
This is a lav mic and a box that is a ray gun.
Yeah, you speak a word or phrase or just a sound, and it amplifies it into a damaging projectile.
The entire sound part is completely superfluous,
and it can light things on fire or shatter things. It's like the Noise Marines from 40K, kind of.
Way less cool.
Shapoo.
But then we get to this training montage type thing of, or I guess it's a demonstration of Paul Atreides doing his weirding way.
Yeah, dodging rods.
He's dodging rods and stuff, and there's this pillar thing, and it is just the Luke with the training droid from Wish.
Yeah.
It's so bad, and it looks so desperate. Again, just thinking about the time.
Mm-hmm.
When it came out and what you would have been used to and inundated with as a people seeing this, I can't imagine. There had to be people in the theater just going, "Oh, come on!"
Oh yeah, a lot of fans of the film didn't like it. I mean, fans of the book.
As we continue through this thing, the exposition started by Princess Exposition.
Yeah.
Is merely handed off like a baton, back and forth and to and from every single actor in every single scene with every single statement.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me what is going on in this movie and why I dislike it so. And in case you guys don't know, I'm just bashing the movie. Austin is... you say you like it.
I like it.
But I don't know. I can't...
I don't like it as man, this is an amazing movie. I like it more as sort of a tonal poem. I like it more like that. I like the set design. You talk about how bad the dialogue is. I like the dialogue because of how wooden and strange it is. There's quotes in it that I absolutely love, like "Remember the tooth."
Remember the tooth.
Yeah, there's just
and then we cut to his mouth.
Yeah, the close up of his mouth. The tooth. Remember the tooth. But it's I don't know. I love when a film is just insane. I think that's our difference. I like to see just absolutely just insane films that do window sounds and just absolutely throw everything at the wall. Very maximalist.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like a weird movie. I watched one on Netflix. I can't even remember what it was called. I bet you saw it. And it had the guy. Okay, you remember Black Swan?
Yeah.
You remember the guy that was like the teacher or the coach or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That was messing with Mila Kunis?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy was in it.
Okay.
The whole movie is there's something going on in the town, but it's like surreal because no character in the movie acts like a person, and it's done so on purpose that it's on purpose, and they have the most bizarre conversations and interactions, and it's like everybody has the heaviest autism that you could possibly ever imagine, and I watched it, and it felt like it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and I think it actually is, and by the end, I had no idea what that movie was about.
Really?
And I hated it with all of my hate. However, I've never stopped thinking about it.
Yeah. Some of these films do that.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens. At some point, they get displaced and they're like in a little FEMA camp or something, but it's not called that, and they don't know when they're going to get to go back home. But anyway, for 2 hours.
Wow.
It's so bizarre. You keep waiting on something creepy to happen, and it never does. Why did we do this?
Sounds unsettling.
This is the thing that I realized about Dune 1984. There are no characters in the movie.
No.
Just exposition pieces. It is like it's like an interpretive dance attempting to illustrate the book Dune.
Yeah, it's kind of like the characters talk about everything that's going on, and then it just kind of happens. They just do it. It's like with the inner monologues and everything with that, they're like, I don't know, it's just like absurd the way it goes through it.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's no amount of believability to any of the characters because they don't actually talk to each other. They merely sort of hand off a presentation to us about whatever it is that we're looking at, hearing about to do, just did. Let me tell you, double elimination is a thing because sometimes they'd say something and then the guy next to him would repeat it. Yeah. And then 2 minutes later, you would get a flashback to the thing that you just saw. And I'm like, oh, what's that for?
Yeah.
And it's long. In the 80s, movies were 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They weren't even making movies like that. And let me tell you something. By the time that Paul and his mother have been exiled and House Atreides on Arrakis has fallen, this thing proceeds at warp speed. Basically, the entirety of Dune 2, the modern Dune 2, is done plus a bit, because we've got players that don't even exist in the new movies, in about 35 minutes.
Yeah, it's really...
Paul meets the Fremen, is accepted into their culture, and gets it, and is named Mohammed.
Yeah,
like in a 3-minute scene.
Yeah,
it might not have been that long.
Yeah, I mean the book kind of the second, like the Dune Part 2 part of the book, kind of it's really expedited in the book. It kind of just goes by quickly, but definitely not as quickly as this film does. Because I was just as surprised when I was going back to the film after seeing the new ones and going, wow, Dune Part 2 version, the Dune Part 2 segment of the original film is just absolutely just, there's like the fighting scene that it just feels like it's like there's nothing to it. They just go there, do it, and that's it.
I mean, there were so many places of that. Like, let's think about it. So, Dune Part 2 begins with
it's like right after the end of Part 1,
right? And Paul and his is that right? No. So the very end of Dune 1, of modern Dune, Paul and his mother are out. They're out in the sands, and then they fight off a couple of Harkonnens. Was that Dune 2?
They fight them off in the plane, crash the plane, get out of the plane, go experience a worm attack, and then they meet the Fremen.
That's it.
And then the Fremen,
they have this big duel, and everything is very tense and is really good.
And then the Fremen accept them as kind of like tertiary members of their party and go on.
Enough to get them to town.
Yeah.
Not, all right, we're going to follow you to the ends of the earth, and you must be the guy.
Yeah. Here it's like, wow, this guy is the chosen one.
It's crazy.
You're going to train 1,000 of our warriors.
And then you get, in Dune 2, you get this whole, like, Paul's rise to, from just trying to survive to becoming, bit by bit, like a warlord.
Yeah.
I mean, he becomes a terrorist, a jihadist.
Yeah.
Because he's got all these guys behind him, and he's struggling with his position as, am I the chosen one, or should I just use that?
Yeah.
And you don't get all that's interesting because that makes Paul a character, an active participant in the narrative, not the Paul we got here.
No, the Paul here, the way David Lynch uses the Paul character is in Dune 1984, he definitely is the chosen one. He is the ultimate being, and he is the Messiah, and there's no questioning it because he literally makes it rain. He is God. In the new Dune, it goes back to the original book and does it all of real politic with it, in that he's a teenage boy whose dad died, and he's going to go ahead and use these jihadis with his mom to get his revenge, and creates a horrible religious movement that is going to wipe out going to cause billions of deaths in the galaxy as a result. And he did it all because his dad died, and he wants revenge. He could very easily have just stepped away and disappeared into the Fremen, but instead he has gone on this crusade because he feels like he says it'd be better. Well, it would happen either way or not, but he feels like this is the least evil to do this most evil.
Yeah, I mean, he decides that there's going to be a new world order because he's like, I'm going to either destroy the spice or control the spice, and this whole playing God with Arrakis is done.
Yeah,
which I like that. I mean, because what the Emperor's doing is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing whole planets against each other by his own whim. I've got more notes. These ship interiors look like a couch in a cigar lounge.
Yeah, the ornithopter interior very much looks like a booth in a cigar lounge.
Yeah, so
I think it's got some haze too going on.
Here's another thing. We'll get to that in a moment. So when Paul and Jean-Luc and his dad all go out to see the spice mine, which is out in the desert, they take this little flying machine. And it was at this point I had noticed a few scenes where the interiors of things were kind of all over the place. And then the exteriors versus the interiors are just from two different universes.
Yeah.
It's as if somebody said, okay, we need miniatures and we need map paintings and we need interiors. And they sent 3 people off, and they never talked to each other until they converged for the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks so pants. Okay. So they take off and they're cruising over, and the ornithopter looks like it's just a box.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just a box, and it's floating around. And then on the inside, it's all quilted leather, shiny quilted leather, like a booth in a cigar lounge. And then there's a shot where the guy playing Paul Atreides is clearly so baked. His eyes are so red. And then you could tell that they had to just take a break. They must have shot, got a look at some stuff and said, oh, no. Get him some eye drops. So baked.
Yeah.
They said, Princess Leia's coke nail, we see that and raise you this dude's eyes.
Uh-huh.
It was incredible. And the scale doesn't make a lot of sense all the time. It's just, I could not imagine how you'd seen Star Wars where all the look of everything is so synchronized and so fully realized at every turn, from the Imperial ships to the rebel ships to just trash on the street.
Yeah.
And think, yeah, this little cigar lounge couch ship is going to go with whatever this shiny silver thing is that we're floating around in. Or in that case, I think it was red. For some reason, we had a red ship.
Yeah.
No visible functionality to it, whatever. Stuff just appears to float.
Yeah, it lacked the wings of the new film.
Yeah, which I mean, I think that was a bit of a breakthrough. I think by Weta. I think Weta Workshop did the effects in the new Dune, and they're always on the leading edge of everything. But I don't need him to do that. But it's like, give me some little thruster twisting or something.
Yeah.
Let me know some stuff is working.
Just floating box.
It's just floating stuff. Okay. Now, this is the part of the movie, and this is my last note, because then it just goes so off the rails, and we can talk about how some of this stuff, in your opinion, connects to 40K and discuss that. But my last note is when Paul and his mother are sent off, kind of exiled / to be killed, which, there's a whole thing going on about that. From that point on, they both get in their still suits and start traipsing the desert for a minute. And the sexual tension between the two of them is the highest of any two characters in the entire movie.
I don't know if I see that.
Oh, man. She starts just being a damsel in distress out of nowhere, and he starts doing a lot of shoulder and elbow holding.
I mean, her husband her lover just died.
It's terrible. There's nobody. Look, there's more sexual tension between him and his mother than there is between him and Chani later.
Yeah.
You saw that.
Yeah, Chani's relationship with Paul just kind of appears. They're they fell in love. That's the exposition. Is and they fell in love. That's literally what they say. And their love grew. Also, she's a cave woman in this thing. She hardly talks, and then when she did, it revealed to me that actress was terrible. Yeah,
she was abominable. I couldn't believe it. So bad. But I was like, what is she for? What is she here for? They don't ever use her for anything.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like this connects to 40K? Because I do see a lot of similarities. Number one, the Emperor of Mankind, or the known universe.
Oh yeah, there's an emperor figure who is ruling over the universe, and the title of emperor. And I think also one thing is kind of like Paul's ultimate messiah kind of form that he takes on feels similar to the God Emperor of Mankind for 40K.
Oh yeah, like when he's finding the Primarchs and amassing the legions and all that. Or I guess what's the first thing the Emperor does? The Space Marines come later, right? He starts off by just reuniting the sort of humanity.
Well, I don't mean in a strictly narrative sense. I just mean in a character way. He's a very powerful psychic. I'll use the word psychic character who's able to do vast mental abilities, and becomes the emperor of the universe at the end. And it's kind of like that Kwisatz Haderach ultimate figure is similar to how the Emperor of Mankind is portrayed in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. The Spacing Guild is an interesting group.
Yeah, connecting that to 40K. In 40K, we have the navigators, who are the guys that pilot the ships, and they basically do the exact same thing that the navigators do in this film. They do the whole folding space and trying to find the right navigational way to do things. It's just a warp involved in 40K. It's about navigating the warp.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how they say that the guy's the Emperor of the known universe, but in the movie, the Spacing Guild has got his balls in a vice.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is the Spacing Guild, because without them, there's no way for space travel to happen. So they're really the big players in the universe. The Emperor is kind of just he's kind of a weak guy compared to the Spacing Guild.
Yeah, and that part right there, it feels like I didn't understand this in Dune 1 and 2, the new ones either, but why is the Emperor allowed to be?
I think that's just the way society has been created following the Butlerian Jihad in the book. Humanity, I don't know. You got the Emperor overall, sort of like the Holy Roman Empire in space. You have the Emperor, and then you have governing each planet is a noble. That's just what Frank Herbert wanted to do, was to tell kind of a very human story. And in doing so, he took a lot of human history from the past and brought it to the future. So you're bringing back a lot of like feudalism and stuff in the past and showing it in the future. It's almost like a repeat of history happening over and over.
And I guess the way he's able to maintain his hold is that he's got those like special super troops off on whatever planet they are on, that he then sends some of those to help the Harkonnens.
Yeah, he's got the Sardaukar, so no one wants to mess with him because he's got the best guys. And even then, some of the houses they're too worried about squabbling with each other, like you see with the Atreides and the Harkonnen, because that's the way things go. The little houses can fight amongst themselves, but no one, the big dog can't touch anyone.
I see. Sting's in it.
Yeah, is he ever?
What is he doing?
He's wearing a diaper.
He wears a metal diaper at some point. Big codpiece movie, as everything had to be at this time. Anything sci-fi in the 80s besides Star Wars.
Yeah.
Big codpiece movie.
Lots of sexual tension between him and his uncle.
Lots of that because, well, his uncle has been diddling him nonstop.
Yeah,
just
likely.
to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy's gross. What is he? The Baron Harkonnen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gross. There's a lookalike. What was his name? Jim Nance. Well, not Jim Nance. Jim Nance is the broadcaster.
It just immediately left my mind.
There's a Harkonnen that looks exactly like Bill Murray. Everybody should go and look at it. I found it on Twitter where someone was like, I didn't know Bill Murray was in Dune. He's a dead ringer. It's unbelievable. What would you rate this movie out of 10? Like we're running up on 40 minutes, and we didn't go scene by scene because the scenes don't make any sense, and you guys would be just as lost if we had done it that way. In the future, we might do it that way because a movie that is built like a movie, that may be fun to do. But what would you rate it?
So,
like, let's set its historical significance, which it allegedly has, aside. Because here's my thing with Dune. If all we had was the book, if all you could ever have for Dune was the book and this movie, you're better off with just the book.
Yeah.
Now that we've got the new movies, I'm here for all of it.
Yeah. I think if I want to look at this objectively and not just my own personal taste, I'd give it a 6. 6 or like low, like really low 7, upper 6s, 6.9 or 6.8. I feel like there's just enough like stuff there to maybe entertain people, but it's also just dragged down by the weight of just the sloppiness of the storytelling and a lot of just the absurd choices.
Austin, sometimes you can't even tell if you're still in the same scene because the set work is so crazy from one second to the next. There's a point where Paul is walking around their castle thing on Caladan, and he goes from his room, which is all sort of wood and gold, and he walks around a corner and it's all green black stone. I'm like, where are we?
Yeah.
I was watching it and literally thinking, did time pass?
Yeah.
No, it was just he just walked out there and around the corner, and we're in a new universe.
Yeah.
There are also moments in the movie where it just like cuts for commercial break.
Yeah. There is a TV version that adds more scenes.
That's another thing. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. And you pointed out that there's 2 kids walking around with a Fremen.
Yeah.
Who in the book were the children of the guy that
Jameis, the guy from the first movie who Paul dueled.
Yes, who is just not included in this.
Yeah.
Because we had to get the Fremen meeting done as fast as possible, apparently.
Yeah.
And so there's just these 2 kids running around at some point, and that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Who are these children? And I just can't believe that with what we have, anything was cut out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were going to cut that out, I can go through there and cut out so much more.
Oh yeah, this film, it's a beautiful mess, I think.
I believe, and I'm going to put my stamp on it, man. This is a non-functional piece of media. it's a 0.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had like a blind test, someone who's never read the book, never seen the new movies, if you challenge someone, watch this movie, I'll give you 3 tries watching this movie, and then tell me what the hell happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would be able to.
Well, there were worms and fat guy and stuff. I don't know.
You'd have to take notes, but the problem is that you wouldn't know what is an important connection point.
Yeah.
Such as the Emperor entirely laying out the whole of the plot in the first 5 minutes. You wouldn't know that that's an important thing that all of your notes have to run back to as you go.
Yeah.
Because you've just spent the first 15 minutes being bombarded by exposition of various sorts.
Yeah.
So you'd never get there.
Yeah. Try and take notes and be like, well, how does this cat milking scene connect to this entire plot?
I missed that entirely.
I feel so bad about that.
So he needed this guy.
Yeah. The mentat that was captured.
Yeah, the eyebrow guy.
Yeah. So in order for the Harkonnens to basically keep him on their side, they have introduced a poison into his system that will kill him. And the only way to hold it at bay is to take a temporary antidote. And in the book, it's just like, here, it's given in your food, so you have to basically play nice with us or die. Whereas in the movie, David Lynch has decided instead to rig up a contraption of a Sphinx cat duct taped to a live rat and put into some kind of like milking harness in a crate with wires attached to it, and he is supposed to milk that cat every day and then drink the milk of the cat to stay alive. And
he means he wants him to jack off the cat.
Yeah.
Man, what are we doing here?
It's something.
Okay. Well, guys, I give it a 0.
I give it a 6.
You give it a 6. Get in the comments and let us know what you think about us doing a movie. Now, this is probably going to be the strangest and most disjointed version of us doing a movie that we will do, because most of the movies, God, I hope, have some semblance of A to B to C structure.
Yeah.
At which point we'll be able to run through some scenes that are critical and make jokes about that stuff. These are just jokes. Man, if you don't think having to jack the cat off is funny, then I don't know what you enjoy. Or the crazy sexual tension between a man and his mother. At some point, we do a lot of bleeding from mouths. That's just a thing that happens for about a 15-minute period. Every time somebody has some sort of psychic awakening, somebody somewhere else bleeds from their mouth and eyes.
Yeah.
Because that might as well happen.
Yeah.
Paul Atreides gets his blue eyes mini scenes too early at one point.
Yeah, that was
we had to look that up. There's some context and a black light involved.
Yeah.
It's the best effect of the whole movie.
But I didn't understand how they could have made that mistake. So unless they're just like just filling all the scenes just together.
Austin, I know how they made that mistake. Are you kidding me? The way they made that mistake is that no one involved in the production of the movie knew what the hell was going on. They were just, you could tell, they're just doing scenes. Okay, we're going to do a scene. Oh, what? I promise you, there was no table reading for that thing with any sort of storyboard or what was going on.
Yeah.
There couldn't have been, because you can tell in the acting job, in the people's faces, that they're just saying stuff. Probably rattle off to them right before the camera's rolling. Like, no, it's da 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 da. Okay. Da 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 da. Great. Got it. All right. Whatever we got. Now wrestle this guy. Wrestle Sting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrestle Sting. And boy, does it look like me and Sting wrestling. Terrible. 0 out of 10. 6 out of 10. We'll see you next time when 40K Fanatics podcast.
Rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yes, David Lynch has left us. Gosh, I've not ever seen any other David Lynch movie. What else did he do?
He's done Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, other David Lynch films.
Huh. Well, we'll see you guys next time when we do a movie.